What are you supposed to do if you're trying to move to Central Florida right now? Should you wait a year and see if the prices drop a little bit? What if you have to rent for an entire year? What if you've just blown $30,000 on rent? Is it still going to be a better deal? Only you know what's right for you and your family. But in this video, my hope is to arm you with plenty of information so you can make the best decision possible. And at the end of this video, I will tackle the never-ending question of whether the Florida real estate market is going to crash. So stay tuned, let's tackle that now. Today we're going to be looking at some statistics that affect our housing market here in the Orlando area. Orlando remains a strong destination for people moving. In 2022, California had the biggest loss, with 343,230 people leaving the state, followed by New York with 299,557. And where were they going? They were going to Florida. Okay, not all of them, but 320,000 of them did. And out of all the places in the US that saw inbound move gains, Ocala, Florida topped the nation. Ocala. Here's a video I made about Ocala a couple of years ago with my realtor friend, Andrea of Great Expectations Realty. Please feel free to check that out. But out of the top 10 places with inbound moves across the nation, Florida filled 6 of those spots. Deltona, right here in Central Florida, little Deltona was also in the top 10. And what happened year on year in Deltona? Housing prices went up 14.5%. I remember, I kid you not, it was back in 2010. I was looking at a 4-bedroom pool home in Deltona. It was a foreclosure. It was listed at $48,000. And I remember thinking, they're crazy. That is so overpriced. They're never gonna get that. It sat on the market for 3 months. Can you even imagine that? 3 months at $48,000. Since I haven't already introduced myself in this video, my name is Krista Tarrans and I'm a realtor here in Central Florida. I've been selling real estate since about 2009. And if you'd like to tap into my real estate expertise, my contact information is below this video. Please feel free to reach out to me. And if you find this content compelling and useful, I would love it if you would consider subscribing and giving my video a like, as it does help to push my content out to people like you who are thinking about moving to Central Florida. Hand in hand with this inbound movement, we have a couple of other things going on, right? Rents are up. The average rent price for any kind of property in Orlando right now is $2,184 per month. Let's say you just need something like a simple studio apartment or a condo. Well, the average for those is about $1,600 per month. I do think some of the rental issues are caused or at least exacerbated by an influx of people from other parts of Florida who were hit hard by the hurricanes of last year and they're waiting for their homes to be rehabbed. As they return to their homes, that may help the rental situation somewhat, but remember, insurance costs are up, property values are up, which means taxes are up, and many condo association fees, which I am not going to get into in this video, are also up. And the sum total of that means that landlords have to pass these fees on to their tenants. So rents are up. Maybe you should consider buying. But what's keeping those prices up? The purchase prices are up too. I mean, we all know we have an insurance crisis here in Florida, and let's talk about that for a moment. 7 insurers have gone insolvent in the past year, and experts are warning that insurance premiums could jump by 20 to 25% this year. Insurance agents are slammed with calls from customers begging them to find cheaper policies. And by the way, if you are stuck in the situation where your policy has increased greatly, there are some things that you need to do, like make sure that your insurance carrier knows about any improvements you've made to your home. Consider bundling your home and your auto insurance with the same carrier if you have not already done so. And if all else fails, of course, your last path is to just decrease those deductibles, which isn't the best solution, but it is one. We can all find news stories about people who were hit with like a $10,000 a year insurance premium when their renewal came up. But for the most part, unless you're living in a coastal home or you're right on the water, most people are able to significantly reduce those heart attack inducing hikes. Insurance is up, and while that may be forcing some people to sell their homes, there is another awfully big factor that is keeping them from selling, and that's, of course, the interest rates. If you have a 3.5% interest rate on your mortgage, chances are you're going to find it really difficult to justify moving and taking on a new higher interest rate. You're going to be buying a much less expensive home because year on year housing prices are still up and that interest rate is affecting how much you can purchase. Today's interest rate is 6.96% for a 30-year fix. And so once again, that is keeping people from moving, and that's keeping inventory relatively low. The only place for people to move to alleviate some of these issues is to go out of state. But that's not so simple, obviously, if your home, your life, and your job are here in Central Florida. So with all of this, why are prices still so strong? Florida's home prices saw the highest year-to-year price increase of any state in the nation at 15.2%. There were 5% fewer listings this January than in January of 2022, and we were already at a low level then. So my question is, how long can Florida keep riding on the net migration wave, and will this continue to keep our prices going up? Or are people going to start to throw in the towel and start leaving, in which case demand will drop and prices will too? According to new figures from the Florida Department of Highway Safety, 10,824 New Yorkers swapped out their New York driver's licenses for Florida in the first 3 months of this year, and that's down from 14,000 in the first quarter of 2022. Florida is still relatively affordable for New Yorkers. In January, the median sale price of a home in New York State was $486,000. In Florida, it was $386,000. What about other states trying to move to Florida? Well, I see a lot of people who are able to sell their home in their home state and take the equity from that, and that helps them be able to purchase a home here in Florida. It offsets the costs of their move. Our housing dilemma is being caused by this big migration inward and less movement by home sellers. So what about the future? Florida home values have risen by 80% over the past 5 years, and a positive trend is forecast for the next 5 years. But at the same time, buyers are definitely starting to have a slight advantage, particularly when you have like an older home in a less desirable area, or one of those factors are working against the home. It's not like last year when even the total dogs were selling in 35 seconds with multiple offers. Homes with deferred maintenance or those in less desirable areas are now facing an increased time on market, and buyers are more likely to be able to negotiate a better deal. But are we facing a crash? So some reasons why I don't really foresee a crash are that the low months of supply, although it's getting better, we certainly are not at what we would call a balanced market. There is a lot of construction going on, but it's not like it was pre-2007. There are a lot of people moving into Florida, which is keeping demand strong. Lending standards are strict. Unlike in 2007, when if you could fog a mirror, you could qualify for a loan. It's not like that now. There aren't very many foreclosures here in Florida either, because so many people have equity in their homes. So walking away would simply be stupid and very unlikely. Also, very importantly, our iBuyers have greatly slowed down their purchasing or stopped altogether in Florida and everywhere really. iBuyers like Open Doors, Zillow, OfferPad, and the like, who buy a home and resell it within a week for tens of thousands of dollars more. They're just not very active any longer around here. I know there are those of you out there who are watching this and say, oh, she's a realtor. Of course she's not going to say we're headed for a crash. But ultimately, it's for you to decide. If you need to buy a home now, the best thing you can do is concentrate on getting the best deal that you possibly can. Negotiate like crazy. Look for motivated sellers. Don't get involved in a bidding war if you can help it, because yes, they do still exist. And try to hope and plan for a time when you can refinance into a better interest rate. Thanks for watching, and happy home searching.